First tonight, US President Joe Biden has paid a surprised, unannounced visit to the Ukrainian capital Kyiv in a show of support ahead of the first anniversary of the Russian invasion, which takes place later this week. Security was high, several roads were blocked off as President Biden arrived, air sirens ringing out. He joined the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, the two men visiting a Kyiv church, laying wreaths at the wall of the fallen soldiers. The historic visit is a morale boost for the war-torn nation and cements the US's unwavering support. It also sends a clear message to Congress that financial support will be ongoing, so far mounting to $30 billion US. They've just wrapped up a joint media conference. Let's have a listen to what they had to say.
I'm very happy to welcome you in Ukraine. It is a great honor for me and for all of us. We have just had negotiations with the President of the United States in the vis-a-vis format, and then we had a wide discussion with the involvement of our teams. These conversations brings us closer to the victory, and we hope that this year, the 2023, will become a year of victory. This unprovoked and criminal Russia's war against Ukraine and against the whole world and democratic world has to end with liberating the whole of Ukraine's territory from Russia's occupation and the solid guarantees of the long-term security for our country as well as the Europe and the whole world. Right now, in Ukraine, the destiny of the international order based on international order is decided, and we, together with the President Biden and our allies and partners, have to continue doing everything possible so that the democratic world would win in this historic fight. Ukrainian remember the focus, the attention, the attitude of President Biden and the United States to every single Ukrainian, to Ukraine. We remain constantly in communication with the President of the United States over the course of this large-scale war, and this is the first visit over 15 years. And this is really the most important visit or the whole history of Ukraine-US relationship.
So, President Zelensky, you deeply honor me here in Kyiv with you today. To meet with your military, your intelligence folks, your diplomatic teams, community leaders who have stepped up and helped their country in their hour of need. It's astounding who stood up. Everybody. Everybody. Women. Young children trying to do something, Pulling people out of apartments and being shelled and literally, I think, is war crimes. It's astounding. And the whole world sees it and looks at it. This is the largest land war in Europe in 3/4 of a century. And you're succeeding against all and every expectation except your own. We have every confidence that you're going to continue to prevail.
That's Joe Biden, the US President, with Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukraine President, after that surprise visit. Our reporter Michelle Rimmer joins us out of London. Michelle, this is almost unprecedented for a sitting US President to visit a war-torn country like Ukraine.
Yes, this visit was clouded in secrecy, and for good reason. Kyiv is still frequently hit by artillery sent by Russian forces. So this is a high risk and a really bold move by the US president to visit Ukraine's capital. We knew that he would be travelling to Warsaw in Poland tomorrow to give a speech, but there really was no indication publicly that the president would be stopping over in Ukraine beforehand. So this is a surprise and really high risk and bold move by the US president, so much so that when he was laying a wreath at a memorial for some fallen Ukrainian soldiers, there were air raid sirens ringing out. I've been told that the president continued with what he was doing and then left the scene shortly after. So that just gives you a sense of the fact that there is quite a high level of danger being in a war-torn country. And so this move, I guess, has a symbol of, there's more than just a visit. You know, this is something that the president found to be incredibly important, and there's a reason that he showed up, not just in Kyiv, but at this time we're 2 days away from the 1-year anniversary of Russia's invasion. And we know that tomorrow President Putin is due to be giving a speech to the Russian parliament to give his take on where his so-called military operation is at. So this is a symbolic move, not only for the location, but also for the timing. Now, while he was in Kyiv this morning in Europe time, the president met with his counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky. He also met with other senior Ukrainian ministers, and we're told there that they discussed the ongoing military and financial support that the US would be providing for Ukraine, including long-range artillery. At a joint press conference between both the presidents, Joe Biden's big message was that the US is in this for the long haul. They're going to be supporting Ukraine all the way through this war. And that was a message not just for the Ukrainian people, not just for Vladimir Putin in Russia, but also for the domestic audience in America, where there have been some questions over the ongoing support and whether the US should be pouring so much military equipment and so much money into the Ukraine war. President Biden was very clear that the US and NATO, as well as Britain and Australia, all of these different countries have been quite clear recently that they will continue to support Ukraine. And President Biden's visit today has been symbolic of that. For his part, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that President Joe Biden's visit was a very significant move for the Ukrainian people and something that they're incredibly grateful for.
Yeah, it provided too a very much needed morale boost, because as strong as Ukraine has stayed throughout this conflict, it is so draining on their people, on their military forces. So there's very public support for the war, and the ongoing, as you say, financial support, not only from the US, is really critical and timely, as you point out, with this anniversary coming up, Michelle.
Yeah, so we're just shy of a year into Russia's invasion, and the conflict, particularly in the east part of Ukraine, is still ongoing, and we're expecting it to intensify as Russia launches what's predicted to be a spring invasion. However, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg was saying last week that new frontline, that new push may have already started. So when we first began seeing some images of Joe Biden in Kyiv today, which of course was a surprise, the White House released a statement, and as part of that it said that Joe Biden and the US would be announcing a couple of new support packages for Ukraine. First of all will be some new sanctions on Russia, including some sanctions on elites and businesses that have helped to, I guess, support this ongoing military invasion of Ukraine. It also announced that it is set to announce some more support in terms of military aid, and we're looking at ammunition and some surveillance technology as well. So 1 year on, the conflict is still ongoing. It's moved around a little bit, and it has changed in terms of where the front lines are, but it is continuing. And the US is really this isn't, just a symbolic visit. They're not just there as a show, but they'll also be providing some additional support off the back of this at this particularly poignant time of year, this almost 1 year anniversary.
Michelle Rimmer in London, appreciate that update. Thank you.